Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread. First 2 cards we are starting our reading off with today are Wheel of Fortune in its reversal in combination with our Ace of Wands in its upright. Guys, we've got the eclipse happening in the next 10 minutes. I'm not surprised to see the Wheel of Fortune popping out. The Wheel of Fortune's been popping out like hotcakes all week. And so one of the things that we describe that often happens with a lot of these eclipse processes is we get that amplification, right? That moment of things that feel like they're amplifying. And even here, a lot of this energy today, I want you to be very intentional in relationality to how you move through it. Because remember, when we have that amplification point, right? When we have that amplification point, I want you to think of like something that you drop something in a water and like it spreads out. So that ability of moving with intentionality, being very specific, being very determined today. We've been talking about this. Often these eclipse energies can feel very intense. They kind of create that space of making it too easy to be reactive because everybody's really sensitive. And sometimes when you're sensitive, but you're not moving with intentionality, it can be very easy to become reactive. But what happens in the energetic frequency where everyone's acting reactively, but you're moving intentionally, right? That can be very powerful stuff. So the ability to navigate to a certain extent in that way right now, it's allowing for a lot of breakthroughs. It's allowing for a lot of breakthroughs, but a lot of that breakthrough energy that we're seeing right now, it's building upon a sense or a space of personal strength and personal fortitude. Now, masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union right now, we see that a lot of this work, and I have to say this even now, it may not feel like a lot is changing right now, particularly for the energy deep within divine union, as well as the energy in separation. Because if these are situations where in the past you would have been more reactive, and now you're being more intentional, and so now you're in a space of high volatility or reactivity, but you're moving very energetically slowly, like a lot of this energy here is really focused on energetic prioritization at this time. And this is why we see that this is so important right now, because what we've been identifying and we saw was occurring yesterday was the energy deep within divine union and the energy in separation. They're effectively having the same reading right now, which is the only difference has to do with the approach. For masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, there's a lot to be energetically done. And so even now, that ability of trying to accomplish and get a lot of things done while also maintaining a point of balance, right? That is like, that is difficult, right? Because that's almost like, that's like trying to watch the plates. That's like trying to watch the pots on the stove while putting a new pot on top of the stove, right? Like that in itself is a lot of the work that we see that the energy deep within divine union is doing right now. It's literally working to learn how to increase one's bandwidth. And one learns to increase one's bandwidth when you're able to navigate something that used to be overwhelming, and then it becomes kind of energetically rote, right? Like that moment of doing something that was requiring all your time, and now you're able to do it without thinking. That is how you're able to expand. So we see even now like a little bit of that breakthrough energy that's happening for the energy deep within divine union may be characterized in relationality to that. You're like spinning plates and you're like, give me another plate. I'm ready. Like, give me another plate. Bring it on. Throw the plate in. It's fine. No, I got it now, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now, in separation, a lot of this energy right now, I just keep seeing a lot of energy. I just keep hearing a lot of energy in separation going, I got no time for love. No. I'm not even, like, I got no times for it. I got no time for it. Like, because this is the energy right now that isn't focused on it. You relinquished your manifestation goal. You said, I'm done. You're walking away from something. And what do we see that the energy in separation is doing? They're moving towards their bliss. They're following their joy, right? They're just doing and they're moving in that energetic capacity. And this is the energy that even now, that lack of concentration, what's happening, like I see even now a lot of that energy is almost trying to avoid a new energetic connections, and they can't help it. Like they can't help it. I see a lot of energy being like, what are you doing here right now? Now's not a good time, right? Because there's so much of this energy and separation that's like navigating through those energetic hurdles. But this is the energy that we talked about that released the manifestation goal. And when you let go of a manifestation goal, you allow a manifestation to arrive. So we see even now, like a lot of that energy isn't in a wait and see. They're almost like, I'm done. I'm free of it. It's not something I want anymore. And in that modality of not wanting it, we see here that the new news coming in, because the universe hates a vacuum. Well, for masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, I got to say, this is where the heaviest, this is where all the intensity is right now. And it's very intense, because I'm just seeing even now that there's some energy right now in divine union that's recognizing that breakthrough point, that's allowing into the elevation of recognizing the difference between being able to dip one's toe into having moments of being in divine union versus the energy that shows the ability to maintain and sustain it, right? Because one is easy. You know, one feels inspirational, the other feels aspirational, right? The ability to maintain something isn't something that happens on a whim or on a lark. It's something that you put a lot of time, effort, energy, and power into doing. And so I see even now, you know, I literally see some energy right now in divine union that's almost saying, is this a one-time thing or is this a forever thing? Is this a one-time thing or is this a forever thing? And all of that is being articulated and clarified by the work that someone wants to put in. Because when someone doesn't want to put the work in, it's easy to have a one-time thing. But when someone actually says, I want to take that one-time thing and make it the forever thing, there's a lot of energy right now that I see even now is shifting, having those breakthroughs. And I see even now them saying, I want this to be a forever thing and I'm ready to put the work in, right? So that is that energy that's feeling like, again, this is either the breakdown or the breakthrough. And it's all depending on whether someone is saying whether they're ready to let the work begin, right? Like that is all that we're seeing here. It's heavy energy. Middle card in our 5-card spread for today is all of it's based on perception, right? And all of it's based on the ability to articulate and plan for what that future is. Because when we talk about what the future holds, that is that moment of saying, I'm not just seeing this in the present context. I'm not just existing within it. I'm facilitating a way of making this be the long term. So we see even now like a lot of that energy. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of a lot of conversation about this today, because this is feeling like a heavy degree of contemplation. There's a lot of energy right now, and this is either internal contemplation, someone in separation that's really thinking about the life path and their path going forward, like what that actually looks like, what their future aspiration truly holds. Or this is energy that is elevating by talking about that path work together, facilitating into it, building forth to it, manifesting together. Because that's what you do when you're in divine union. You manifest together. So we see even now that for a lot of this energy, the ability to talk about what the future holds is allowing for that space of, again, saying, I want that one-time thing to be the forever thing. And this is where the work begins. We haven't even gotten started. Versus some energy right now, if it's that modality of feeling that energy of coming in and then someone pushes away because they're not ready to do the work to maintain or sustain it. This is some of that energy that may be gazing upon something and saying, I guess they don't have what it takes to energetically sustain the power or the magnitude of the energetic connection, right? Because whenever you build into something like that, you have to be ready to change your world in the process. So we see even now that a lot of that energy, you know, that is either that moment, I told you, this is breakthrough or breakdown. and a lot of it is based upon, again, that point of, is this a one-time thing or was this a forever thing? Now, masculine and feminine energy right now, in separation and deep within divine union, really just not focusing, not necessarily focusing so much on partnership right now. Like the energy deep within divine union and separation are kind of in the same exact plateau right now, which is you got a lot of stuff on your plate. You're too busy to worry about it. It's almost something that, again, that's the beauty. Then this is why the energy right now in separation is acting so much like the energy within divine union. Because when you're deep within divine union, you don't need to spend every single minute worrying about the energetic connection. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to obsess or worry or think about it, because that is the ballast. You know what I mean? That is the ship. The ship is the ship. So again, for a lot of this energy right now, just being on the energetic ship of the relationship, deep within divine union, this is a lot of energy that's just, again, building upon plans, building upon experiences, building upon projects. The ship itself is not the focus point, because this is the energy that's just kind of moving forward and concentrating on other things. But this is the important thing that I'm seeing right now. There's energy in separation right now that's doing the same thing. And that is a massive positive. Because if there's energy right now that's saying to themselves, I'm just bringing my ship in. I am the ship. This is the energy going, I'm on my ship. I'm doing my thing. If I see the energy in separation going, if I encounter another ship going in the same direction, awesome. If not, whatever. And even here, I see a lot of this energy coming into new energetic connections at a time that they couldn't care less about doing so, because their concentration isn't on seeking, it's on moving towards their new manifestation goals. Next two cards in our 5-card spread, before we get further clarity on these cards, we have here Justice card in its reversal and Chariot in its reversal. There's a lot of energy in separation right now going, no, sorry, I'm not available. I am off the market. Now is not the right time. Do you see this? Do you see this energy that is and I have to stress, this is not energy playing hard to get. Okay, I need to stress this. This is not energy playing hard to get. This is energy that's just really flipping busy. This is just energy that's saying, I got a lot on my plate, right? And this is why we see that for a lot of this energy, the only difference I'm seeing now between the energy in separation and the energy deep within divine union right now is that the energy in separation is literally my hands are full. My hands are full. Now's not a good time to build an energetic connection. And yet, they persisted. I see even now there's some energy being it feels a little bit it feels a little bit like the type of energy being what now? And that's why I see so much of this happening here, because the energy's going where was this when I was looking for it? When the universe is well, you were still putting the order in. I was waiting for you to finish putting the order in. So we see even now that there's so much of this energy in separation that's feeling like someone's trying to come towards them and they're being this is not the right time. And this is the energy trying to it's almost the energy trying to make a little room, right? Almost trying to be maybe and that's the thing. I see even now new energetic connections trying to find space, trying to find time to build into these new conversations that I see that are happening, because this is the energy that's literally got their hands full. The energy deep within divine union right now, this is the energy saying, throw me a plate. This is the energy, again, working on maintaining right now, because they've already had something new given to them, right? So even here, this is energy that's already, this is the energy navigating that balance point between overcomplicating something at a moment that everything felt like it was reaching balance point. And so even now, there's a little bit of that energy deep within divine union. I can kind of see them and being how you doing? And being it's kind of like juggling plates. It's either going well or everything's crashing down at once, right? Because usually when you're juggling, it's really just falling with style. So there's a lot of energy right now within divine union that's kind of everything's fine. We're falling with style. Like, right? Because that is like the flow state energetically to a certain extent. The heaviness here, and this is where all the intensification is happening right now, is the energy on the verge or on the brink of coming into divine union. And I'm seeing even now that what's happening here, it's like it's 50-50 split. It's 50-50 split. It really is. And I keep getting the same message here. This is either the energy that states, you know, I recognize the limitations, why I could not move into divine union before. I recognize that the work hasn't even started. This is where the work begins. And I'm ready to move away from the energetic blockage that has been preventing that ability of moving into a divine energetic connection. So this is either the energetic breakthrough point that we're seeing now. Someone getting that, like, by George, I think I've got it kind of aspect in recognizing what they need to change within the self and being ready for that. Versus some energy here that, you know, that anxiety, that feeling like it's too intense. It's too much. I have to let go of too many of the autonomous personal goals to move towards the energetic connection. Right? Someone saying, I didn't see myself in this space. I didn't like this feels like, this feels like it's too much, too fast. So that ability of looking at something, and I see even now the benefit here is, at least the one benefit that's coming through right now for some of the energy navigating that, is they're saying one of the counterparts recognizes entirely what's occurring. And the thing with the counterpart that's recognizing what's occurring is it's almost that moment of having to just stand and watch to a certain extent, right? Because that decision point, that breakthrough, like that is either one that feels like the euphoria of making those energetic plans together, you know, like saying, like, we are on this ship together. We have a ship. The ship is our relationship, right? Or the energy that's saying, I'm too afraid to get on the ship. I'm too afraid to get on the ship. It's not, you know, and I see them like almost coming into a space of making energetic excuses. But what the energy is really seeing that's in a point of healing is someone like backing away and going, I'm too afraid to get on the ship. I'm too afraid of the direction it's going. I'm too afraid of what the future holds, right? And so, even here, there's a lot of that intensity because the clarity that's coming through in a lot of those situations, it either feels euphoric or it feels, I want to say, it feels cathartic in the sense that someone is not feeling like it's their fault that they're encountering someone with that type of fear. Like, this isn't the energy like faulting themselves in the perspective of someone being in that modality. This is a recognition of what is occurring. Continuing to get clarification between our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal in combination with our Ace of Wands in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now. I'm going to talk about the energy coming into divine union right now because this is where a lot of this is occurring and it's really important right now. And I have to say it's like there's so much intensity here because for the energy coming into divine union right now, the energy coming into divine union, it's not that things are perfect, right? This is the energy that recognizes it's not smooth sailing, right? They're not looking at something and being like, oh, this is going to be easy. They've hit some of those rough patches here. They're hitting some of those moments that feel like they're more difficult. But what do we see and what do we recognize is happening in those modalities right now? This is the energy that's saying to one another, we're not just here for when it's easy. We're here for when it's hard. Like, this is the thick and thin, right? This is the energy that's committing to one another through thick and thin, through better and worse, right? Because again, when you're steering a ship, you don't stop, you don't turn around when the water gets rough. You proceed forward to a certain extent. So this is the energy that's coming into that mutual shared reality of acknowledging what needs to be worked upon in order to continue to facilitate forward together, right? And so we see even now, like, this is the energy of the breakthrough. Now, for the energy right now that is experiencing that moment of anxiety and fear that is preventing a potential connection. The gift that they're saying that is being received to at least the energy that's experiencing that is the understanding and the clarity of what is occurring. This is not energy that is internalizing that or saying to themselves, what did I do? This is the energy looking towards someone and remembering and saying, it's easy to say that one wants to be in love. It takes a lot of work to stay in love. It takes a lot of work to facilitate love. Love is not something, love is not a pool that you fall into and then jump back out of. Love is that work of navigating and continuing through regardless of the discomforture points. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, looking towards someone in that moment, if they're stepping it away in a time that they should be stepping forward, that's that energy of saying, I guess they're just not comfortable in the discomfort that is required and necessary in order to build into vulnerability in relationality to maintaining a consistent loving frequency, right? Because if you're not ready for it, it's going to create anxiety. It's going to create fear. It's going to create, it's going to feel too close for comfort. Because when we say that something is too close for comfort, what we're really saying is I'm afraid of vulnerability, right? And so the observational point of someone recognizing that is the gift that is being given to the energy experiencing it to reaffirm their own energetic commitment in relationality to remembering, here we go, we cannot heal something if someone does not see it as a healing, right? That's a lot of the energy there going, I could fix that. And that's what's so hard about this. I see some energy going, we could fix that together, but only if you see it as something that is requiring fixing. Because if not, it's just going to further amplify the anxiety or the fear that created the trauma in the first place, because often trauma is created when vulnerability is violated. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Same energy that I'm seeing right now. The energy deep within divine union and the energy in separation is in the same place. And I'm telling you right now, guys, that's awesome. Because effectively, and it's slightly different. It's definitely slightly different here. I see that in separation right now, there's a lot of energy coming towards the energy in separation and being like, now is not a good time. I've got my hands full, right? Because a lot of that energy literally was moving forward from a point of frustration, turning their attention elsewhere. And in the moment that they turn their attention elsewhere, suddenly someone comes towards them and being like, now, well, the energy right now, deep within divine union, is learning how to add an extra plate. Like learning how to, I get here a lot of energy deep within divine union, rearranging things and being like, oh, we have to make room for this now. So I see even now, like a lot of those accommodations that are effectively being made right now for the energy deep within divine union. Continuing to get clarification, but that is that sense of like taking on something additional because, what used to feel overwhelming now feels manageable, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Wands in combination with our Three of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with 10. It's confusing though. 10 of Pentacles in its reversal, right? This is more of the energy within divine union, getting comfortable outside of their comfort zone. Like for a lot of the energy, remember a lot of that work that we saw that was leading up to this point. Remember, because I told you this is a little bit of that Jubilee energy, like too much to do. But again, when you're able to navigate that as such, you don't see it as a negative. You have to kind of work on that positive, like that ability of trying to navigate and doing a lot of things. This is the energy that is trying to find efficiencies in relationality to being more energetically productive, right? The difficulty here is the overwhelm. It's navigating the feeling of the overwhelm. There being too much to do. There's always having that sense of one's work cutting out for you. It's like, I'm picturing it's like Lucy when the cupcakes start coming down the conveyor belt too quickly, But as long as one does not let yourself get into a space of panic, right? Building into that point of grounding, that's how we can, like, again, that's why it's so important during periods of this, not to just kind of succumb to the frenetic energy that may be around you, but rather to kind of find the ability to be still, right? To be still, even if everything around you is cacophonous, right? That is the important point, because that ability of being able to find that point of stillness, that is a lot of this accomplishment point that we're seeing for the energy coming into divine union, because that is that moment of being able to have like grace under pressure, if you will. Right? While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, I just see a bunch of energy right now that's like let go of their manifestation goal, because now they're letting go of their manifestation goal because they've got a whole bunch of stuff that they're trying to deal with. And now in the modality of trying to deal with something, there's like a tap on the shoulder and being like, hey, how you doing? And being like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of this, like I told you, sometimes these eclipses bring in pleasant surprises, so long as we allow ourselves to be in a space where we're welcoming that type of energy. So I see even now, there's a little bit of that, like it's a surprise energy, but it's a pleasant surprise energy, because it feels to me like the surprise is occurring via a space of navigating and concentrating on spaces and places that are chaotic, that like you're putting a lot of concentration in. And so now it feels like some of those new energetic connections feel like a reprieve from some of the energetic chaos that's surrounding someone in separation. Masculine and feminine energy right now, again, I'm either seeing here breakthroughs. Now our work begins. Being able to identify and say, it's not perfect, but I'm not choosing this because it's perfect. This is the energy that, again, this is really beautiful moments that we're seeing right now, because I can almost see the energy coming into divine union right now saying, I'm not perfect. And this is the energy saying, neither am I. But guess what? Together, we can try, right? Like, that's the two wrongs that make the energetic right? When that energy of imperfection meets energetic imperfection, all you need to do is try. And so what this energy is almost doing right now, coming into divine union, this is the energy saying, I want to try to be better, because what we're creating between us feels perfect. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, even here, if these are modalities where someone is ready to do that work and the other person is resistant or refuses to acknowledge that the work is there to be done, or is insisting and saying, this is what they're really saying is, I'm afraid to change. Like, this is the energy having the clarity. I see like the energy, like being able to see through someone's jargon and saying, this is someone who's afraid to change. This is someone who's become who clings too much to their life in separation. This is the energy that may say that they desire union, but if the desire to come into union is not recognized and saying that when you say you desire to come into union, you have to be ready to change, then this is the energy saying, this is some of the energy saying, I know this person may say that they desire divine union, but their words don't match their actions. They may say that they desire something, but they're not willing to put in the energetic effort required to maintain and sustain and create it within themselves. You can want all sorts of things, right? You could say you want a pony, but if you don't have a stable, you don't have the hay, what are you going to do with it? So we see even now, like a lot of this energy is saying, do you want the relationship? You have to be ready to like move your life around to create the space of it becoming a safe harbor for it. So we see even now, like a lot of that energy looking towards someone and being like, this is the energy saying, I'm too afraid to let go of what I have in order to facilitate what I could become to create with you. And even in that moment, though, I see that there's a lot of catharsis and healing arriving, because this is the energy that's not blaming themselves for encountering someone in that state. They're just recognizing it. Continuing to get clarification between our Three of Wands in its upright and our Justice card in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our Temperance. And the thing with this right now, and this is what's happening for a lot of the energy navigating that, because we're going to talk a lot about the energy coming into divine union right now. There's energy here that feels like this is really bittersweet. Because if there's someone here that's recognizing this, there's the complete uncertainty of saying, with time, they may recognize that this is the case. You know? And I can almost see some energy right now moving away from something and looking towards someone and saying, you know, you're going to regret this one day. There might be a possibility of you regretting this one day, right? Because that ability of seeing that, looking at someone and saying they're not ready, what feels so bittersweet when you have to step away from someone and you say they're not ready, you're already articulating the fact that you know that the day may come that they are ready. But a lot of this energy is remembering that they cannot wait, because waiting, like this is the energy saying they could change at any time, or it could be forever. It could be tomorrow, or it could be never, right? This is the energy that's looking, and this is the energy saying, I'm not going to build towards someone's potentiality of changing. Because when we build towards someone's potentiality of changing, it's not the inevitable change, right? It is the hope of change, right? And also, while moving towards someone in a state that they haven't changed, you don't allow for change, you create stability. So when you come towards someone and you hope that they change, you've really made sure that they're not, right? Because in that moment, you've kind of created and given them the context for which they have what they need. There's no reason to facilitate the energetic change. So this is why the energy right now experiencing that feels so frustrated. Because they feel like they've reached an energetic impasse with another connection. This is where, when this is not recognized, this is how unhealed karmic connections are formed. So what the energy is doing right now is saying, I'm not going to facilitate an unhealed karmic connection by moving towards someone from a state of expectation in the desire for them to become what they're not showing a way of becoming. Because when we move towards someone in a space where they're not where we desire them to be, we move them into that space of not coming into the growth or the expansion point. So we see even now, this is the energy saying, I'm not going to freeze you in this position. I'm not going to facilitate you navigating in that connection where you articulate the desire to be in divine union, but you're not showing any of the indications of showing the ability to maintain it. Because that would require that the individual that recognizes it is forced to sustain something where that doesn't feel like they've arrived. It feels like they're continually or perpetually waiting. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, having that recognition point, it's allowing for a closure. Recognizing a difficult situation, recognizing an impossible situation also creates closure, because you're able to articulate the scenario to such a degree that you're not in a space of wondering why. You understand the context, and it allows you an ability to move forward. So we see even now the benefit that's happening for some of the energy navigating this is the immediate closure in the recognition of what is occurring. While for masculine and feminine that are doing this work, this is the energy that's taking the accountability. This is the energy saying, it's not perfect. It's absolutely not perfect, but it never is going to be perfect. And this is the energy saying it's not ideal. And this is the energy saying it's never going to be ideal. Ideal is what we create between ourselves. We don't wait for perfection. We create perfection among ourselves. So we see that right now, the elevation that's happening is this the energy saying it's not perfect, but we're always going to try to build that balance between us. And that prioritization of maintaining and building into a point of balance between energetically, that is the energetic commitment. So we see even now that a lot of those breakthrough points are occurring now. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation or deep within divine union, this is all just about maintaining balance today. It's a lot. Like some days just like keep on and carry on is the manifestation goal. And I see even now that for a lot of the energy, both in separation and deep within divine union, like be strong and carry on is just kind of like the watchword of the day. Like today's just a day of being like, still here, still breathing, like doing my best to create balance in a space where balance does not feel like it's meant. But what's important in those moments that we don't, and again, this has been a huge message that's been coming through during this particular eclipse cycle. Not focusing on the energy that says, I have a right to, but instead moves and says, I know what's right. The important message that's coming through right now, and a lot of the lessons that are being channeled, is the difference between someone saying, I have a right to, right? That exceptionalism versus I know what's right, integrity. So make sure that you're moving with integrity today. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Justice card in its reversal in combination with our Chariot in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Eight of Cups in its reversal. So one of the things I appreciate about this right now, and I got to say this, like I see a lot of this energetic provocation to a certain extent that's potentially arising for, especially and particularly for energy and separation, and also for energy deep within divine union. What's happening for a lot of the energy right now in both of those contexts is you're not taking the bait. I just want to say this to a certain extent. There's a lot of energy in those modalities right now that are kind of recognizing situations that feel like they're like, there's a difference. I need to point this out. There are situations that feel like they're energetically unfair, right? They're situations that feel like you can go in and facilitate a point of balance on, versus situations that feel to a certain extent like there's nothing that you can energetically do to create a point of balance. And I see that a lot of the breakthrough that's happening right now for a lot of the energy, and this, I'm telling you now, this is now the message that was coming through right now from the energy that was coming into divine union, now channeling outwards to the energy within divine union and in separation, is the observational point of bringing forward an ability to move forward, like a productive path forward, to recognize the difference between something that feels like it's supposed to create balance or something that regardless of what you bring to it, like nothing seems like it's energetically right? Like there's a lot of this work right now of overcoming obstacles, but I want to say a lot of those obstacles that are being overcome is simply circumventing anything that feels like it's an impossibility vector, right? Like almost like the energy that can't be pleased, the energy that feels like no matter what you bring towards it, there's always going to be like an additional hurdle there. Like this is a lot of that energy just working to facilitate productive path work. And so, and I see it's like solutions. Like it says to me, like a lot of the energy happening right now are productive solutions that are being brought forth in the face of unnecessary obstacles, right? So I feel like that's nice because, again, remember we were talking yesterday about being the voice of reason, and how the voice of reason sometimes sometimes energy is oppositional to the voice of reason because it doesn't create the like energetic drama of energetic conflict to a certain extent. I almost just see that like even now, like a lot of that voice of reason energy coming through for the energy deep within divine union, and also for the energy in separation. I feel like there's a lot of energy that are building into new connections with someone that is the energetic voice of reason. I almost see a lot of that energy in that modality being like, you seem very reasonable, or almost someone articulating their frustrations and someone being like validating like your own perception, because these are a lot of energies that are making new connections with someone that's inhabiting the space of sharing your own reality, which is good. Because a lot of energy right now, you remember, moved into separation because someone refused to acknowledge the reality through which you yourself were experiencing. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Nine of Pentacles in combination, a Nine of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Ten of Pentacles. So I need to stress this. Do you see the fact that we still have an escalation here? Even though these energies are reversed, we've got progress here, and it's coming through progress via the patience. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, you see that? Do you see that? Do you see what happens when you don't match energy? When you don't feel like someone's giving you the right to do something that moves you off of alignment, but you just continue to stay focused, staying on your own sense of energetic rightness to a certain extent. We see even now that there is there are breakthroughs that are occurring right now, but I need to stress this. This is the same message that we saw yesterday. Don't be reactive. Be persistent. Be consistent today. Don't be reactive. Be persistent and be consistent. You know, like a lot of this energy right now, I just see, and I need to point this out. There's like a little bit of energetic stubbornness here, but like this is good stubbornness. Like this is that positive point of almost saying, like, again, when you're moving with integrity, you can be as inevitable as the sea, because when you're moving with integrity, nothing is going to move you off your axis. Right? It doesn't matter what's effectively energetically happening around you. You just maintain the consistency and the constancy of finding your own particular flow state. So I see even now, I got to say, like the energy, and this is happening again, energy deep within divine union right now, and energy in separation. Like having that point of appreciation and saying to oneself, you know, the situation's less than ideal, right? The situation's less than ideal. It's not what I desire. But I'm going to make the best out of it. I'm going to take that straw. I'm going to spin it into gold, right? Like this is the energy saying, I'm not going to sit around and wait for the circumstances to become ideal. I'm going to make the best with what we got here. You know, we're going to make the stone soup. We're going to take what we have to. We're going to take what we have to do and do what we need to do, regardless of what we got, right? So we see even now like a lot of that energy, and this is what I think is so important. Energy right now deep within divine union and energy in separation embodying the same vibration, which says to me that a lot of the energy in separation, you know, is in their manifestation goal to a certain extent, because they're embodying the same energetic frequency as the energy within divine union. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, a lot of like this is the energy, and this is what's so frustrating about this, because I literally feel like this is a call that's going out across the energy and divine coming into divine union. Anything can be fixed so long as you agree on what needs to be fixed. Anything can be fixed as long as you agree on where the work needs to go. And this is why I see even now so much of this energy is hanging on a moment right now, because this is either the energy that says, I'm ready to fix this with you. I acknowledge we share the same common reality and relationality to what that work is and what must be done to amend it. Or this is energy that says, if you can't see what I see, then there's no way we can fix it. Because you're not asking to share a reality with me, you're asking me to disassociate in the process of energetically being in connection with you. And so this is why these questions right now, this energy of saying to someone, do you see what needs to be fixed? Do you see what I see? Because that is where everything hangs in relationality to someone saying, yes, I share your reality. I agree. This is where the work begins in terms of us building into the context of what we can build together going forward, versus someone coming into a space of denial and saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Why are you bothering me? This is too intense. You want too much. This is the energy that steps back and goes, they're either, and this is the thing that's heartbreaking with that, which is the energy saying, I can't tell if this person truly can't see it or is in denial of it, because they're afraid. But either way, this is the energy saying, I can't do anything if that's the case. I just need to observe whether it is occurring. Continuing to get, but even in that space, do you see this? This is energy moving away from those situations, karmically clear, because this is the energy saying, I've assessed the situation and I've isolated the problem and I understand what is and is not possible. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Ten of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Temperance card in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Swords in its upright. Now I need to stress this, because I see even now this is some of the tactics that some of the energy within that is taking right now. And I think that this is really important, because this came up yesterday. this came up yesterday and it's so important. This is the energy. And even here, I see that there's some energy hovering, coming into divine union, and is saying to someone, take your time. But they're not saying take your time. Remember how we talked about it could be tomorrow or this could be forever? I see a little bit of energy saying you can have a little time to try to figure out what it is that you want, or whether you see it too. But this is the energy saying, I'm not giving you forever. I'm giving you a very set amount of time. Like, this is the energy saying you can take a few days. You can take 4 days. This is the energy saying you can take, like, this is how much time you can take, right? Because this is the energy that recognizes the difference in terms of saying to someone, but in terms of someone saying, I need time, as in I need the rest of my life to try to figure something out. Like, I need time, as in, like, I need the next decade. I need the next 5 years. I need the next 22 years. I need, like, the next millennia. Versus someone saying, I need 4 days. I need 4 days to, like, think to myself. Like, I need 4 days to, like, figure out if I'm ready to make these energetic changes. Like, those are different things. So I see even now, this is why so much of this, and the energy that's coming into divine union is splitting hairs. The energy coming into divine union is splitting hairs, because this is the energy that isn't speaking in vagaries. This is the energy coming into divine union, doesn't say maybe, if, one day, someday. No, this is the energy being like Tuesday, September, 4 o'clock. Like, this is the energy that recognizes the difference between speaking in the subjective philosophical long term of concepts versus the very true reality of saying, like, no, this is what I want, and this is what's happening in the next 4 months. So we see even now, like, a little of that fine tuning. I told you, this is that Libra eclipse that's coming through on this right now, which is like, don't be vague, be specific. Like, this is the energy recognizing the difference between someone who speaks in these, like, grandiose vagaries of, like, their, like, grand life purpose, versus someone being like, no, I'm ready to do this next week. Like, like that, the person being like, I would love to be in love someday, versus someone being like, I would love to do this someday, versus being like, no, I'm doing this next week. I want to do this in the next 3 months. So we see even now that so much of that work that's being facilitated here is the energy seeing everything they need to see in the difference of someone talking in vague terms versus being very energetically specific. Like, I just see it now. Like, I see a lot of energy saying, I need an answer. You can have time. Like, this is the energy saying you can have time. But even in that time, there needs to be specificity on the time. You can't just talk towards some kind of vague, like, imaginary future, right? Because often when the difference between ideal and aspirational, right? Ideal is talking towards, like, I want to know what love is, versus someone being like, we're moving in next week. You know what I mean? Like, that sense of being in that space of, like, someone who, like, waxes nostalgic or over the idea or concept of love, versus someone that's actually recognizes the work that needs to go into creating love, right? Well, the energy right now, and I see even now, a lot of the energy coming into divine union is talking about this. I even see some of the energy coming into divine union saying, this has been a struggle point for me. I've been afraid. I've seen energy coming into divine union saying, I've messed things up by being too afraid. Like, the energy coming into divine union is admitting and saying, I've messed things up because I was too afraid to, like, go into that space of making those changes. And that acknowledgement point, I see even now, like, the energy that is saying, and that's the energy saying, I'm not going to mess it up again, right? And so that in itself, that observational point of someone saying, I'm done waiting. I'm not going to wait until I'm energetically ready. I'm going to remember I'm ready in the moment that I'm ready, right? That's the energy moving into divine union. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that are, deep within divine union or in separation, this has a lot to do with just persistence right now. I just see a lot of this energy in separation right now that's saying, I don't have time to wait for anybody. Like, the energy in separation is saying, I don't have time to wait for anybody. I'm doing things now. And even here, if there's energy, they're like, if there's someone that they're waiting on, I see the energy going, I'm not waiting. Because that's the energy saying it could take them forever to wake up, right? Like, this is the energy. It could take them forever to wake up. Like, this is the energy being like, like, this is the energy that's just moving forward productively. And that's why, because this is the energy that's in separation. This is what I mean about the energy in separation, moving and acting like the energy in divine union right now. The energy in separation is basically saying, I don't have time to wait for someone to wake up. Right? This is the energy coming in separation, saying, I've got too much to do to sleep on someone or to have someone energetically sleep on me. And the energy deep within divine union, and so they're not putting concentration on relationship right now. Energy deep within divine union, they've got again, the security is the relationship, because they're so worried on, they're doing everything else right now. It's not the concentration point, right? So you see, even now, the energy in separation is embodying the same energetic frequency as the energy within divine union. Continuing to get clarification between Temperance card and our 8 of Cups in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with, look at this. When you stop looking at the pot, it's when it boils. So I see even now, I just keep seeing that there's a lot of this energy in separation that is like just trying to facilitate and work on everything. Like, I can see energy literally right now in separation being like, the last thing on my mind right now is partnership. And then going, what is happening? Because I just see I see all of this new energy coming towards the energy in separation. And I can almost see the energy in separation going like, I am not available. Like, I am this now, like I can see the energy being like, now is not the time. Like, trying to manage that surfeit, right? Because I just keep seeing here, like there's that sense of like, it's giving me like the watch pot that doesn't boil. Like, there's a lot of that energy here where it's just like amplifying, it's just growing to a certain extent. And so even here, this is energy that has their hands full, and in the process of that, new energetic connections that are forming along the way. And I even hear a lot of energy in separation going, they're nice, they're just a friend. Oh, it's good to see you again. Like, I see a lot of this like encountering that's happening right now for a lot of that energy in separation. For the energy deep within divine union, this is about spinning plates. And this is about getting better at spinning plates. Like, this is about, and remember, masculine and feminine energy, we're working through navigating more plates in different ways. Feminine was learning how to set the pace, not moving towards others' prioritization, but focusing and grounding on their own, almost saying to those around them, you have to wait in line. Everybody will get fed, but you have to wait in line. Like, that's the energy of the feminine that is learning how to navigate by prioritizing and focusing. I told you, like, that's the energetic restriction point that the feminine is doing right now and calling back their energy, which is, again, that moment or modality of saying, like, that's the feminine coming into that empowerment point in not potentially being available for everyone, but in a way saying that the way that they're navigating is such that they can serve the energy that they're approaching with more of that point of concentration, because this is an energy of the feminine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, that's been working on focus and prioritization. Masculine has been working on expansion, being more emotionally available to those around them by becoming open with their own emotionality and their own vulnerability. So this has been an expansion point for masculine, where the masculine is now experiencing a lot of that emotionality towards them that they would have been more restrictive to. But this is like masculine almost going into that hug energy, like opening up their arms to a certain extent via the emotional connections that they're building through that. So again, more of this energy doing that work. Masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union. This is where the work begins. Or there's energy here that's saying, I understand that this might be an energetic ending. Because everything is being amplified right now in terms of someone saying, I'm ready to go forward. I'm ready to open up. I'm ready to explore the possibilities. I'm ready to open up. And that is the deepening of the intimacy process, right? Because this is the energy that feels like they have their work cut out for them. but they feel like they're doing it together, right? Like that is the energetic process through which they feel like they're sharing on that journey. If this is energy that's stepping away at that time, or saying, I just need a little time, I just need a little space, this is all just a little intense. Even in that stepping away process, I feel like some of the energy within separate, like coming into divine union, almost feels like that sense of letting go, or saying, like, I see the writing on the wall. Because what they're almost seeing in that modality is someone saying, this is too intense to navigate. Even when I navigate it, I need to ask for separation. I can't navigate vulnerability or intimacy with you. I need to pull away from energetic connection to navigate the intensity of the energetic connection. So we see even now that some of that energy, recognizing that, they're like, that is potentially the expectation, because that is the energy that's almost articulating in the moment that they're saying and doing it, the fact that the intensity within a divine union frequency is too much, such that they need to feel the need to escape it in order to think clearly, right? So we see even there that for some of that energy, a lot of that energy experiencing that is saying, like, you know, your actions are speaking more than your words ever could, right? Because this is the energy that's kind of looking at that like from a bigger picture, from a bigger perspective. They're not getting confused about it. They're just seeing the energetic pattern of it as the modality of the relationship to a certain extent. And that's why we see even now some of that energy is hoping that there might be a change that's occurring there, but they're not letting that be an open-ended, I need time. They're saying, well, there's got to be a very specific amount of time there, because that's the difference between someone that's really about to have a breakthrough and is ready to commit to those changes that are necessary to enter into an energetic connection, versus someone that says, when things get intense, I ask for time. When things get too intense, I pull away. And that is the pattern that you can expect or anticipate with me, right? So I almost have that energy of someone being like once. Like I almost see someone going like once to someone, being like, you get that once. It can't be the modality, right? You guys all often ask me about the difference between modality. Modality is the opposite of exception. Exception is something that happens once. Modality is something through which it is the nature and behavior of something through which you're experiencing it over and over and over again. Continuing to get clarification between the World card in combination with our Four of Swords in its upright. One card for clarity here. Empress. So we love to see this here, because for mass, here I got to stress this. The benefit that we're recognizing that's happening across a lot of the energetic vibrations right now is the feminine energy. And this is going to have a different impact on masculine and feminine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Feminine coming into appreciation on what it is that they need in order to maintain an energetic connection. And so for feminine energy, what we're seeing here is for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, like a lot of this work of the feminine coming into a point of appreciation has to do, I tell you even now, that sense of energetic compassion is such that they're appreciating and perceiving things in a different way. So this is a modality here, I need to say this, that if this is an experience of the feminine in the past, feeling that moment of disappointing everyone around them because there's too many energetic demands on them, this is the feminine energy coming into that point of appreciation and saying, oh, if I feel like I'm energetically disappointing those around them, that means that there's a lot of energy that's requiring or demanding of me. So that's the feminine energy coming into that state of saying, I appreciate the fact that that's not a failure point. That is an amplification point in recognizing how much one is energetically seen and appreciated. So we see even now that navigating that is the feminine energy deep within divine union coming into a deeper appreciation of the feminine. And that is the feminine returning the compassion to the self through which they give it to others. This is why that is not a feminine that feels like they're closing doors. That is feminine that feels like they're controlling the flow, because it's almost a feminine saying, I'm able to give you my full attention now, right? And that's a feminine that almost says to someone, I don't want to kind of just meet you halfway or give you not enough. I want to be very focused in relationality to what I'm energetically giving you. Masculine, coming into that appreciation of feeling and expanding your wings to a certain extent, allowing that emotionality, and then feeling the response of the energy that appreciates your openness to your emotions. This is masculine embodying the feminine and saying, wow, this must be what it feels like to be in the feminine's position, right? Because we see even now, these are the energies that are learning to balance these things within themselves. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is the same exact thing that's happening right now for the energy in separation. This is the feminine energy in separation going, why is it, I can see a lot of feminine energy going, why is it when I say I'm done, all of a sudden all this energy comes towards me? There's a lot of the feminine energy in that modality here. Because this is a feminine energy right now that is so focused. Like when we build, we attract. When we create, we draw forth. That is that modality that, again, this is a lot of the feminine energy that says, I'm tired of moving towards other people's expectations of the self. I'm just going to embody my true vulnerable self. And in that moment, the rose opens and that person becomes beautiful, because that is the energy of the feminine that is living unapologetically in the nature of their true existence. While for masculine energy in separation, I see even now there's a lot of masculine energy that has a very clear focus on what they're looking for from feminine. This is masculine being like, I know what I'm looking for. I'm not available for everybody. I'm looking for a very, I see a lot of the masculine going, I'm looking for a feminine and like, not fine. I'm looking for a feminine in spirituality, like 5'2", like something like that. Like a lot of the masculine energy going like that, like a little bit of that type of energy here. Because again, this is the masculine energy that is being authentic about their desire and what their true, like what that true counterpart would be, right? And that is the energy of the masculine that's coming into their own emotionality to such an extent that it feels like the masculine doesn't have to put up a false version of self to do that. It feels like a masculine that can almost be very appreciative and open to feminine in the process of building forth. So I see even now a lot of energy being like, I don't have the time, but I really like talking to this person, because there's a lot of authenticity and appreciation that's coming in those new connections. While masculine and feminine energy right now, this is it. Like the energy right now that is coming into divine union, everything rests on whether the energy works together or not. Everything rests on whether the energy works together or not. And I see even now one of the difficulties that's potentially happening for some of the energy coming into divine union is if this is energy struggling to come into divine union and someone says, I need time, like it's counterintuitive to the process of coming into divine union to say, I really want to go into divine union with you, but I just need a little not divine union to figure out if I like to decide what to do about divine union. This is a lot of energy being like, I can see a lot of the energy that's ready for it being like, do you see what you're saying right now? Like, do you see what you're saying? Like, do you see what you're saying? Because what that's really someone saying, like, I'm ready for this. I need time that's not this to decide if I'm energetically ready for it. And this is a lot of the energy saying you are literally not ready for it, because the way that you're trying to tackle a problem to come into divine union is not to separate. Like that's not divine union. Like, no, I really want to be here. I just gotta go. I gotta go outside for a few minutes before I can come back in here for a bit. Like that's the energy that's almost like, it seems like you're holding your breath. Are you like in divine union going, like that's the energy being like, this should be the comfortability point. And that's why we see even now, like if that's energy saying, I need a moment to myself. The difference between someone saying, I need like 2 days, I need 3 days, someone being very specific, because that's the energy saying, the whole of the experience I desire to be in is here. I need to step away for a second. And this is a lot of the energy that is recognizing the difference between someone saying like, I'm about to make a lot of changes in my life and I need a minute to like fully embody and feel like I'm coming towards something from a state of openness. So I see even now some energy saying, I will give you 2 days, or I will give you this, no more than that. Versus someone being like, I'm just not ready, I need more time. And someone being like, you've probably been saying that for like 30 years. It's just, I can almost see someone saying to someone in that, how long have you said that? How many times have you said that to someone? Am I the first person you've said that to? Because that's that moment, like you cannot be ready forever, because that fear is only gone the minute you're ready to overcome it. Continuing to get clarification between our Four of Swords in combination with our Seven of Cups in its upright. One card to clarify. This is the energy saying, yeah, that could be tomorrow, or that could be never. And that's why we see even now a lot of that energy working to come into divine union. The energy coming into divine union is being exact. The energy coming into divine union is saying, this is the day. Today is I almost see the energy saying, like, again, I'm ready to make these changes. It's hard. These are spaces that I vacillated in the past, but this is what I'm clear upon. And that exactness, that clarity, even speaking towards the fear that may have limited someone and coming towards someone in that way in the past. This is either that breakthrough point of the energy that says, you know, we're not going to do it all tomorrow, but this is the path forward. This is where the work begins. We're sharing in this work together. This is how we're going to fix it. And in the process of fixing it, you immediately heal it, because in the agreeing of fixing it, you acknowledge that it is happening, and you acknowledge that there is something beyond the two of you that you're trying to cultivate and nurture. Versus if these are energies where someone's going, I just need a little time. I don't know what I want. I need a little more time. I don't know what I want. I need a little more time. I know what I want. Someone almost looking and saying, how long have you been saying that? How long have you been saying that? Because someone can say, I just need a little time forever, right? And so a lot of this energy I see even now, the gift that's happening for some of the energy that's on the cusp of the divine union, is the recognition point in the difference between, again, not taking that personally when you find someone that says, oh, I'm just not sure about you, I need time, versus a recognition that some energy just goes around saying, I'm not sure I'm ready to make the changes to facilitate energetic connection because I'm afraid of change and I'm afraid of moving on a journey with another person. That could be someone's modality. Someone can stay in that modality for their entire life. That anxiety point, that trepidation, if it's not internally overcome, it's something that needs to be born on the part of the counterpart that feels that anxiety point in relationality to being in an energetic connection, that you constantly feel like someone's still trying to decide if they desire to be one in it in the first place. So, masculine and feminine, and the energy right now that is coming into divine union saying, I'm absolutely terrified, but I don't care. Like, into the breach. Like whatever comes beyond this. There's a lot of energy going, I don't know what happens next, but I'm here for it, and I'm here for it with you, because that is the energetic connection. Come what may. Masculine and feminine in divine union right now. This is the energy that's like literally building upon the ballast of the partnership. The ship is like just, you're not even thinking about it. You're just moving forward right now. And even here, just a lot of this building into points of clarity, knocking things off one's to-do list, trying to just, like, again, it's giving me like Jubilee energy, trying to get one thing done after another, after another, after another. Energy and separation, same thing kind of thing. Too much to deal with right now. A lot of this work that needs to get done. Feeling energetically overwhelmed, not even knowing, like, I can see the energy being like, I don't even know what to do first. So this is the energy that, like, again, the last thing on their mind is partnership, but in the process, I see that there's something that's happening in the background here for some of this energy and separation. Something that is reviving, or something that is coming, coming towards them, because this is energy that's not focusing on it. This is energy that's just building. They're almost moving in a way, almost as if they're already in partnership. Final card for today's spread between our Empress card and our Moon card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Cups in its reversal. Beautiful energy. I mean, I know it's intense right now. I know that this eclipse energy is intense, but being able to maintain one's own consistency throughout it is key. Right? A lot of this focus, and again, it is having a different impact on masculine and feminine. Feminine working really hard right now on appreciation of the self, of not being too hard on oneself, on appreciating and coming into gratitude for how much you do, how much you try to do, the work around you, even in feeling that overwhelm, saying to oneself, it's a beautiful thing to have that overwhelm, right? For masculine, a lot of today is built upon clarity. Trying to get clarity, trying to provide clarity. A lot of this, like, working through and moving with integrity today. So when we do that, a lot of that work we're seeing right now, a heavy amount of focus here, a heavy amount of determination. And I see even now, like a lot of that energy proceeding forward at this time. The nice thing about this is giving a lot of clarity in relationality to the determination point, particularly for the next 4 months. Masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union. This is the gift you give one another. Feminine feels supported because they trust that masculine will always be clear and honest and open, right? Masculine is being open and honest because they trust that feminine is always there to hold their truth. And so even now we see that this is the energy that's coming into divine union, that's moving deeper into divine union today. This is the energy that's building into a shared truth. And when feminine receives that open, honest truth and the shared experience of masculine also inhabiting the truth of the feminine, this is the feminine that feels like the masculine and feminine are in that space of being together, because these are the energies that are prioritizing that experience together, right? And masculine, that ability of being open and honest and feeling the fact that feminine can stand and withstand and is there and nurturing of your truth. You see, this is the battery that forms in terms of these two building and amplifying upon one another in that supportive space. While for masculine, and so we see even now that for a lot of that energy coming into divine union, that is the breakthrough. While for some of the energy right now that's on the cusp of it, if these are circumstances or situations where, this is like the energetic equivalent of saying to someone, I'm trying to show you something that we need to work on in order to facilitate a healthy energetic connection. If there's too much of a polarity here, if there's a wall between one person's perspective of what's happening versus another, how can you take down the wall if you don't acknowledge that it's there? So we see even now, like that's the energy that's moving away from a circumstance or situation like that with a feeling of disappointment. And the feeling of disappointment is someone saying that person would rather hold on to their truth in solitude than build forth into a counterpart connection that requires change, right? And that breakthrough, the breakthrough that the energy is having, that's stepping away from something, is in the acknowledging of that and not taking it as a personal recrimination, but just an explanation. Immediate karmic closure that's occurring in those scenarios, because that's the energy saying, I can't force someone to take down a wall that they don't want to acknowledge is there, because that's not going to feel like healing. That's going to feel like trauma, right? While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, I just see these two energies just like focusing, like all of their focus right now on getting things done. The last thing on their mind is partnership. But here we go. Here's partnership showing up at the doorstep of some of this energy right now. And it's coming through via V in a appreciation of similarity in relationality to the busyness of the life. And like almost having that moment of looking towards someone and being like, I like you because I don't have to put up a false sense of self. I can just be myself around you. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is the sun. I mean, do I have to talk about the fact that we've got a solar eclipse today and the sun is bottom of the deck? Like, do we have to talk about the harmony of the sun being bottom of the deck on the day of the solar eclipse? It might feel heavy today. I tell you even now, these solar eclipses, the amplification of anxiety can be, if you have issues with anxiety, if you have issues, like I want you to be grounding today, because that sense of anxiety, I want you to move it into excitement. I want you to move it into excitement today. You have anxiety, you don't have anxiety. You got excitement, because I see even now, like a lot of this energy, it can feel very hyper. It can feel very amplifying, right? But making sure that you're moving it into positive spaces and places is key. And again, if you're thinking a negative thought today, I want you to at least say to yourself, for every negative thought I have to at least think about a counterpart positive thought, because the ability to amplify during eclipses is large. So you want to make sure, like, again, it's like Peter Pan, like you can fly. Think of the happy thought. Think about the happy thought. Let that amplify right now. Don't let the negative thoughts, because like, again, a lot of this here, working towards that Some days, all you need to do is take that little shred of joy and try to magnetize it, try to make it bigger. Like let that be. If that's all you have to, if today, the most that you said to to yourself is, I made myself feel a little bit better, you have accomplished a great deal today. Because sometimes energy like this can be very intense. So just ask yourself today, like, what positivity can you bring forth? Let that be your accomplishment. Don't overextend yourself. Just let that joy be your victory. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, ever, ever reach out to you for a private reading. I'm never going to DM you. I'm never going to PM you. I'm never going to slide into your inbox and tell you the only way you can book a reading with me, and tell you have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. Also, please keep in mind, I've got a few updates for you today. This is also my only account, so make sure you follow me here. Our next tarot class will be held on next Thursday, October 10th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Lover's card. I am so excited to teach this class for Libra season because I associate Libra with the Lover's card. I'll go into that in the class. We're going to start talking about the trines. We've just completed the first archetypal journey in the tarot. We're moving on to the second. If you would like to become a part of that class program, head over to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack will grant you is your ticket to next week's class. And you will also have access to the full repository of recordings and course materials for the previous classes. So if you're just joining us there, you got a whole week to catch up. You don't need to catch up. I'm going to go over everything again in the class, or as much as I can, but it's there for your perusal when you're ready. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we're learning thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship reading with me, wherein we will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey, and I'll give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So I want to thank you if you're already joining us there, and I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next class. And also, if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, head over to the subscriber-only Discord that you have access to, because you will find a special coupon code there to give you an additional discount on those classes. Even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings, services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which lets you know about my in-person and my live schedule. We also got our book of the month there. You'll be able to see it over there as well. You'll also get notified as to any giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, we have pulled the winner for our September giveaway. I will be announcing it on Substack this week. If you would like to enter our October giveaway to win a free private reading with me, head over to the link tree in my bio. There is a 2-minute travel survey there. Filling out that travel survey will grant you an entry into the giveaway. But if you would like to increase your chances of winning, forward that survey to a friend, because when I pull the winner, not only am I going to be giving a free reading to the person that wins, but I will also be giving a reading to whoever referred them. So I want to thank you if you've already entered, and I wish you the best of luck of winning this month. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship courses. These are classes that are focused on whatever area of personal development or spiritual practice that you are interested in learning more about. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, because they are very customized classes. Those can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class package. That is 4 45-minute classes, 1 per week or bi-weekly, as according to your schedule. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, 1 per week or bi-weekly per month over the course of a month, so that you can stay more consistent on your own journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.